Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 1, 2. Welcome to Beacon of Speech. I'm Fred Hunt. That's Ted Coley. Hi, Ted Coley.
Hi, Fred.
What is Beacon of Speech? We sell freedom of speech to everybody across the fruited plains, across the rainbow. Who are we taking freedom of speech away from today? Are we putting anybody in the freedom of speech penalty box? Ted Coley.
I don't know.
No, I don't think we are. I think we are going to have some fun. Because the last couple of weeks I have been picking on Ted Coley way too much, especially for being my partner. Correct, Ted Coley? We're going to do something a little different. I'm going to pick your brain. We're going to go into the Wayback Machine, and we are going to play War of the Worlds. Yay! Now, you're familiar with War of the Worlds, right?
Somewhat.
War of the Worlds, H.G. Wells came on the radio, said there was an alien invasion. At every commercial, they would come on and say, this is only a radio simulation. Please do not worry. It's Halloween. We're doing this as theater.
It was Orson Welles, right?
Oh, I said H.G. Wells. You're right. It was Orson Welles. See, my first error already. So, Orson Welles. See, that's why we keep you around for, Ted.
Is that right, though?
No, it's Orson Welles. I said H.G. Wells. Well, what the hell did H.G. Wells do? H.G. Wells wrote The Time Machine. Orson Welles did War of the Worlds. Point is, he scared the crap out of everybody in 1937. There wasn't 20 different news channels. There wasn't the internet. There wasn't, whatever you want to throw out there, Instagram, Facebook, anything you want to, Snapchat. There was no social media. Everybody listened to the radio, and people stared at the radio like there was a tube on it. Like, oh, listen to the radio, and they're staring at the radio. They could have went all the way across the house, but they stared at the blank radio.
Joey G used to stare at the schedule.
Yeah, like it's going to change or something. Yeah, exactly right. Now, I'm not supposed to be doing this, but I'm drinking this. Ted is feeding my addiction. So we don't have Coke today. We got a Pepsi.
Which is stronger in your opinion?
I think Coke is. I think Pepsi. Pepsi's more about sugar, and Coke is more about
fizz.
Cocaine extraction. If you want more sugar, you want Pepsi. The point of my story is what we're going to do on Beacon of Speech, and you're going to be my fallback, just like I couldn't remember H.G. Wells or Orson Welles. We are going to run a simulation in real time. What would happen if me and you were doing Beacon of Speech, and we're talking about, boy, the Browns suck, right? Or
I really thought they had this one.
I told
didn't you?
When they were losing 21-7, I was talking to my mom, and I said, well, they're still going to lose. She goes, why you got to be so negative? And I said, because they suck.
When the Browns were up 21-7, right?
Yeah, I told her they were going to lose, and she said I was being negative. She said they can't lose all their games.
Who do they have next week?
They're not winning that game. Their last 3 games are the Steelers and Ravens. They ain't losing to them. And then they got the Bears, who are like 4-9, I think.
Oh, really?
So in theory, they have a chance against the Bears, but you would think they would have had a chance against Green Bay since Aaron Rodgers is on injured reserve. So you would think that we'd have a chance today, and we still lost. So anyhow, do you remember on 9/11, were you listening to Howard Stern's show that day?
Yes.
Howard Stern was just talking about making out with Pam Anderson, and they were literally talking about nothing. Now, whether you believe that Howard Stern was making out with Pam Anderson is another story for another day. Right? But they were literally vamping for time, right? Howard Stern's like, oh yeah, I like making out with women, and, as a matter of fact, I was making out with Pam Anderson, and they're like, oh no, right?
Well, this was before they knew about the planes.
Right, and I remember very clearly that Baba Booey came on air, and he goes, hey Howard, I know it's important, or I know what you're talking about is important, and Howard's like, of course, you don't want to interrupt me talking about me and Pam Anderson. He goes, but there's smoke coming from the Twin Towers. And he goes, I don't know what the hell is going on, but it is a beehive over there. It is a hub of activity. I'm like, what the hell is Baba Booey? Is this a skit? Right? So Baba Booey's like, something's going on. There's sirens, there's smoke. And Howard's like, well, you keep us abreast, but, you know, I want to talk about Pam Anderson. So I quickly, within 2 seconds, I turned on WTAM, and they were talking about traffic, right? Turned on sports radio, right? It was 9/11, so they were probably talking about the Indians, right? At the time, there was no satellite radio. It was 2001. So you would have only known from news or TV, right? So I turned back to the Howard Stern show, and then all of a sudden, Howard Stern turned into a newsman, right? He was talking about, now there's a second tower on fire. And they were talking about people are calling in that a plane flew into the tower. And all of a sudden, I was getting my breaking news from the Howard Stern show. I go back to WTAM, and they're still talking about traffic and weather, right? So we are going to take a page from the Howard Stern show today. We're not going to talk about Pam Anderson. Pam Anderson ain't making out with me even this late in the game, okay? She's making out with the guy from WikiLeaks, Asante or whatever his name is, right?
Assange?
Yeah, she loves him. Supposedly they have a relationship.
Pamela Anderson and Julian Assange.
Yes. He is stuck in the embassy, right? She makes calls to the embassy, and they said, is he your boyfriend? And she's like, oh, no, I just visit him. And then other people have said, wink, wink, it's conjugal visit type thing, that she really respects him. And I'm like, you know what's none of my business, okay? The point is, what would happen, and I keep thinking about this because I've been watching the show The Orville, okay? Let's say me and you are talking, and we're looking at the screen, and we're talking about the brown suck, right? And then we look over here, and we see Facebook. Somebody posts that something crashed in South Dakota. We're going to use the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, right? And we're going to use it in real time. So it's 5:52, okay? So right now we mark off 5:52, right? Now, because it's the year 2017, correct? As soon as something crashes, and now we assume that the alien spacecraft is not crashing into the ocean, right? Or it's not crashing into the mountains in Russia, where, you know, they would never admit it. Somewhere where there's a population center, right? At 5:52, we look on Facebook, and all of a sudden, there's pictures of a crash of a vehicle that's crashed in South Dakota, okay? 5:52, now it's 5:53 on Sunday, okay? Now, what was the first thing we were talking about? Me and you are, okay, we're doing Beacon of Speech, and I'm like, Ted, you see the pictures of what's going on. What do you think it is? And then me and you, we would be talking. We'd be like, well, it could be a small plane, right? Could be a small plane. It could be some sort of missile test that went wrong. We're going through scenarios, right? The U.S. government automatically says, don't worry, we're investigating, okay? At 5:53 p.m. on a Sunday, right? We're not talking about the middle of the night. We're not talking about this or that, right? Social media, within 1 minute, there's pictures of something smoking outside of Sioux Falls, North Dakota. I keep saying North Dakota, but Sioux Falls, South Dakota, right? I've been making a lot of errors in this episode, okay? So I'm glad you're here to walk me through this.
Now,
okay?
is Sioux City, is that Iowa?
Yes, I think Sioux City is Iowa. So Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'm going to write that down. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It could be, we could say Fargo, North Dakota. Whatever it's not a major city, okay? We got the non-writing pen again. That's all right. Just remember, every time I say North Dakota, hit me in the head and say South Dakota.
Oh.
Ted's left. Ted doesn't like our exercise, and the aliens are coming. It's freaking him out.
You're unprofessional. Oh, here's that other one.
Okay, there's the other pen. Okay. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. See, I told you we didn't even have an outline. We only had like a small piece of paper. Okay? So scoot a little closer. So right off the bat, me and you, we're joking around, right? Well, it could be a plane. It could be Kim forgot to load the missile onto or he forgot to load the nuclear warhead on, and he just shot a missile and it didn't go off. You see what I'm saying? A number of scenarios.
Rocket Man.
Rocket Man, exactly. So Rocket Man once they figure out, now, how long, and these are questions I'm asking you. 5:52 on Sunday, how soon before do you think that the U.S. government knows that it's an alien and it's not North Korea or Iran or domestic terrorism that put this fire in the middle of the field in South Dakota?
So you're saying how long would it take them to...
How long do you think before the U.S. government knows?
5 years?
Well, we're going to do War of the Worlds, okay? So, things crash, and of course, whenever things crash, you got two types of people. And you learned, and we're going to go back to 9/11 for this, okay? Two types of people. People who run from the towers and people who run into the towers.
I would be the first person.
But I'm going to tell you a story about 9/11. When it crashed into the first tower, second tower, I remember Baba Booey saying, listen...
I would be running away waving my arm.
Baba Booey, when he first came in, he said, I don't know if it was a plane accident. I don't know what's going on. The second time, Baba Booey, within, again, this would have been within 1 hour, said another plane has crashed into the Twin Towers. It's an awful big coincidence that two planes would crash into buildings right next to each other. It sounds a lot like terrorism, but it's early in the game. Now, even though he's on the Howard Stern show, you can make fun of Howard Stern, right? Within an hour, they already knew it was terrorism, okay? And that was in 2001, before social media. This is people calling Baba Booey and looking out the window and seeing the two towers smoking out the window, okay? Same analogy, but instead of New York, we're using South Dakota. And there's a reason for that, okay? I think within 1 hour, the U.S. government will have known. They'll be like, holy cow, we talked to NORAD, and this came straight out of the sky. It came right out of orbit, right? Well, what do? Well, there has to be a contingency plan. Now, back to the 9/11 analogy, you got people running to the field. You got people running away from the field, right? Again, you're running with your arms, right? You don't know if it's a nuclear weapon or not, right? Other people are like, well, if it's a nuclear weapon, we're screwed anyhow. We're going. We're good. It doesn't matter whether you're a half a mile away or at ground zero. If the nuke goes off, you're fried anyhow, right? So you got looky-loos. Within an hour, you are getting better pictures. You're not getting just vague pictures in a field in South Dakota. You got idiots running up to the field, running up to the edge of the crater, right? Hey, what's in there? Okay? And they're right on the edge of the picture, and they are taking pictures, okay? Now, respectable news sites like CNN and Fox News, they have to do their homework, right? Unrespectable news sites like the Daily Mail, which I like, right? Daily Mail reports news like I do Beacon of Speech, okay? Sloppy and report and then back up and say, oh, no, I meant to say Orson Welles, not H.G. Wells, right? They're all about faster and we'll fix it later as, kind of journalism on the fly. Let's put it that way. Within 1 hour, there's pictures of on the Daily Mail website saying aliens here, right? In big letters. Now, the U.S. government does not want the Daily Mail. They already paid some yokel in Sioux Falls $10,000 for these pictures, right? Now you have the shitstorm, okay? I'm sorry that we used the swear word, but by 7 o'clock, we're looking at the thing. By 7 o'clock, you have panic, okay? Oh crap, the aliens are here. North Korea is saying we didn't fire anything. Iran said we didn't launch anything. Donald Trump is not reassuring anybody. He's tweeting, oh crap. He's like talking to the generals, right? He's not soothing the populace, okay? Now, again, we're looking. You don't see any aliens at 7 o'clock, but you can see a glimmer of like a ship. Right? You can see something. There's something down there, but we can't tell what it is. So I'm going to write down today's date. We're going to write down today's date. Well, today is the 10th.
So you're saying this is going to be aliens?
Aliens. This is aliens. Okay? Now, we don't know whether they're peaceful. We don't know nothing. Okay? And there is a point to my story. Okay? Now, at 9/11, we're going to go back to 9/11. I also remember how, again, I think it was the Howard Stern show. They came on and they said, oh my God, a plane just crashed in Pennsylvania. And they said it was a farm an hour outside of Pittsburgh, right? Is that about where it was?
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
In my mind, I was very upset because me and Ted, we did a movie called Blasphemers, right? And the producer or director, technically I was the director, but the person behind the camera was my sister Jeanette, right? Jeanette is one of the people who would be like, oh, I'm going to go take pictures and run towards the smoke. Okay? So on 9/11, they said 1 hour out of Pittsburgh, one of the planes crashed into the field. We don't know if anybody survived. We don't know what's going on, but it looks like it could be the same people who did the thing in New York, right? And then I'm upset. I'm like, oh my God, my sister lives about an hour outside of Pittsburgh, and she is one of those looky-loos who would run towards the fire. And in my head, I could imagine the plane crash, and you find out later that it basically dissolved on impact. But
did they find anything?
No, they said it was like scorch marks. You know, like scorch marks and a few pieces of fabric. I mean, it really took a nosedive.
Yeah.
Okay? So in my mind, I'm like a field an hour outside of Pittsburgh. My sister is the type who would run out there, and I didn't know, you know, again, the plane just disintegrated. But in my mind, it landed, and the terrorists are coming out, guns ablazing, and my sister's like, oh, look, I'm going to take pictures. Click, 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 click. Right? Then it hit home. I'm like, oh, they shot my sister. Why in the hell does she got to do that for? So the same analogy goes for the Sioux Falls example, right? There are people with their click, 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 click. Hey, do you see aliens in there? Let's get a little closer. Oh my God, I see a spaceship. Hey, Earl, come look. Right? And so an hour later, you're getting social media. Things are popping up. Is this real? Is this really a ship? Is this doctored? You see what I'm saying? Washington, D.C., they know. They have to know within 1 hour, right? Now, what is plan B? Because you got people running, people, okay? All of a sudden, now we're going to say, for the next couple of hours, we're still on Sunday night. Next couple of hours, it's a media feeding frenzy. CNN, Fox, RT, even Al Jazeera in Saudi Arabia. They're like, is this really going on? They're sending out crews. It looks like Waco. You remember Waco when the Koresh thing? They said there was actually a city outside the Koresh compound because there was literally hundreds of news vans and satellite trucks. You remember that?
Yeah, it went on for so long.
Right. Man. So within 4 hours, you're starting to grow a city on the perimeter. And again, the Sioux Falls police departments probably set up a perimeter, right? And people are like, you can't stop the truth, right? Like on X-Files, you can't stop. If it's in a field, how are you setting up a perimeter? You only have so many people in Sioux Falls. You know, how long before the reserves get out there to, you know, secure the perimeter? Now, let's just say 4 or 5 hours go by and it's midnight, okay? Still the first night. The whole world is watching Sioux Falls, right? All of a sudden, you get a cloaking device drops, okay? And it is very clearly a spaceship, right? Very clearly a spaceship. And people are clicking. All of a sudden, you can see the spaceship, and you can see there's movement in the spaceship. There's windows, right? Something's going on, okay? Front page of every paper in the world. Is it the aliens? And then there's other people who are like, the United States is at it again. They're doing a Hollywood movie. They're already, is this real? You see what I'm saying? And there's a reason that me and you are going through this, okay? Now, alien comes out of the spaceship Monday morning. You know, they had a good night's sleep. They crashed their thing. They're putting on their Band-Aids. They're doing whatever aliens do, okay? Monday morning at 6 a.m., we'll just use 6 a.m., 12 hours later, they got a good night's sleep, they're done milling around, They walk out of the spaceship. Okay? 12 hours, and the world has changed. Okay? Now, my question to you, Ted Coley, because I keep setting up the scenario. When the alien walks out at 6 a.m., 12 hours later on Monday morning, how soon before it's The Walking Dead?
Oh, God. Probably 20 minutes.
And me and Ted talk about The Walking Dead, and we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, where what would happen if we ran out of oil. Mm-hmm. Okay? Alien comes out. He can't speak English, right, Ted? Mm-hmm. He comes out. Oh, shit! Oh, we're not supposed to start. But we did, twice on the same beacon of speech. Ah! Okay, next thing you know, every Walmart is chock full across the whole United States, right? Buying stuff. Now,
it would be like that scene from Airplane where they go to the plane, they go to the passengers and say the plane is going to crash.
Yeah.
And nobody does anything, and then they say we're also out of coffee.
Yeah. So, every Walmart in the United States is packed solid by 8 a.m. tomorrow. They say the alien and the food, the water. I mean, people are breaking into gun shops, right? It's the end of the world. We're all screwed, right? Now, there'll be some police stations are like, please don't riot, please don't riot. Everybody's rioting, pulling their kids out of school. They're closing schools. Schools in the U.S. are closed until we can figure out about the aliens, right? Mm-hmm. I think that was an Independence Day when they saw the alien ships and they're like, all schools are closed in the nation.
That would be awesome.
I'd get some days off.
Work wouldn't be closed.
No. Oh, no.
Where I work.
No, where you work would be like, aliens didn't come out and block us in Ohio.
No, you know what? It would be the opposite. You would be on call 24 hours a day.
What if the aliens attacked our customers? We need to get their data backed up. So far, you're in agreement with me. As soon as they see the whites of the aliens' eyes, there is anarchy starts, right? And they're saying, do your loved one, or I shouldn't say do your loved ones, make your peace and whatever. Now, the aliens, it's just a small craft, right? Just say it's the size of a Boeing 747, just hypothetically, right? There's not a million aliens, right? Logistically, even if there's 100 aliens in there, they can't take over Earth 100 aliens, mm-hmm. right? So even the aliens know that, and they're just like, and you're like, oh, they're saying, take us to your leader. Now, here's another question I have for you, Ted Coley. Our leader in the United States of America is Donald Trump. Is Donald Trump on his way to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, say, I'm going to talk to the aliens? Or is he like, trip to France? I've been planning this trip to France for years. And ever before that we're going to France. And I will tell you about the aliens from France. Now, you think that Trump loves him. Now, I'm guessing what you would say. And you're going to tell me. But you're guessing that Trump would want to be the guy who meets the aliens. Would you say that's fair? Yeah. So Trump is on his way to the aliens. Right? Do you think the rest of the world is happy with this decision?
Probably not.
No. And the guy makes...
I honestly think that Trump would go and he would meet with them.
I think that Ted is right. Okay, now, but it's the old analogy, you don't know. You don't know until, So you send Donald Trump. Donald Trump, he's going to sit back, and even if he wants to meet the aliens, they have to go over what if there's, alien germs, what if they pull a gun, so they're not going to meet with them on Monday, right? Donald Trump is going to announce, I'm going to try to meet with them, and then give a date, days in advance so they can prep him.
I just remember, when Clinton was president, looking at one of those, it wasn't National Enquirer, it was one of the, world news, right. You know what I mean? And it had a picture of him shaking hands with an alien.
yeah, exactly. So who knows? Maybe it happened already. But my point is, everybody has a scenario. Like, I saw the movie Arrival, and they're like, oh no, we set up a perimeter, and, you know, everybody was calm. Screw that. That ain't happening. Okay? Now, could you see a scenario where the aliens crash, they're peaceful, but they can't communicate with us? They cannot. Where there's not a run in America where people are breaking into the gun store. Do you believe in the American spirit where everybody would remain calm?
No.
No! Absolutely freaking not. It would be like in Mars Attacks. You know, they're all doing the pomp and circumstance, and Jack Nicholson's like, well, of course they want to talk to me. They pull out their lasers, shoot a few people. Next thing you know, again, Walking Dead is the total... Whenever we say Walking Dead, we mean the breakdown of society. Mm-hmm. Okay? So Donald Trump tries to calm people down. So we're just going to say we've moved on to Tuesday. Donald Trump says we're going to pull in the National Guard on Tuesday. We are going to stop the rioting in major cities in the United States, New York, L.A., St. Louis.
So it's funny because the people end up becoming more of a threat than the aliens.
The people are more of a threat than the aliens. Just like in Walking Dead, the people are more of a threat than the zombies. And that's the breakdown of society. Okay? Donald Trump is saying, we're going to do a national curfew. Would you say that's probably true? Mm-hmm. And again, it doesn't matter whether it's Trump or Clinton. I think they would still have the same action plans. You still have to keep the peace. Now, what I'm saying when I say Walking Dead, we're starting down that road, right? Donald Trump says, I'm going to calm you guys down. On Wednesday, I'm going to talk to the aliens. The aliens come out. They're confused. They have a perimeter, and they're kind of, they kind of look around, go back in their ship, and they just mill around. They're milling around, okay? But there's no focus, okay? Every website in America has pictures of the aliens. All of them. Every single website, every single news. Sioux Falls, the local newspaper has got one of the most hit amounts in the history of the world, right? But there's still some order, right? Trump's locking it down. Trump walks up. What day would you say he would meet with the aliens? By Monday, he knows what's going on. Would you say maybe by Wednesday? What day would you say? We'll throw it out your way.
Well, okay, so you said this started to happen on Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday night in real time at 6 p.m.
Okay.
I think Trump would try and meet with them like on a Wednesday. So that gives about 4 days. National Guard's locking things down. Places like Detroit are burning, right? Again, not because of the aliens, but because of the people, okay? Donald Trump loosens up the National Guards. He's got federal troops. They're moving in. He says, I got to calm people down. Now, have I said anything that you think would not happen? Like, there's no way that would happen.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Other countries are trying to talk to Trump. Trump's like, I'm busy. I got aliens on my hands. Okay? So on Wednesday, he walks up to the aliens, right? Walks out, comes out. They see Trump walk up to the end. Okay? The aliens.
So is he coming off of like Air Force One? Or?
Well, they got like they got Trump with army guys. They got their guns, right? And you could see that too, right? They wouldn't send Trump out there, with scopes. They'd have Trump walking out first. Then they'd have the next set of army men walking out, right? And this is where we diverge, okay? The aliens can do two things. The aliens could kind of walk out and, right? And Trump goes, I don't know what you're saying, right? Or Donald Trump could be like, they go, and Donald Trump goes, listen, aliens, you're in the United States. What are you doing? And then he waves his hand a certain way. He talks with his hands like I do, right? And the alien goes, oh, crap, pulls out his laser and liquefies Trump. Okay? Now, two courses of action. Right?
I just picture like Trump like laughing and joking with him, like slapping him on the back. And...
Well, no, but that's one scenario. You are exactly right. Now let's go with the worst case scenario. Let's say that they pull out and they fry Trump with a laser beam. Okay, then Wednesday, that's the apocalypse right there. As soon as they do that, It doesn't matter what happens. It's real Walking Dead time.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as people see that on, because, you know, there's a zillion
So if that
cameras.
happens, will Hillary think that she's the president?
Yeah, Hillary, she's running to Washington. I'm the president. I came in second. Forget that Mike Pence, right? And, you know, they're not going to let Mike Pence near, you know, because you don't know what's going to happen, okay? Now, real Walking Dead time, okay? America and the world plunges into Walking Dead, and then it's literally... We're going to burn down our own planet before the aliens come. Okay? Now, let's go back
I think the aliens would be afraid of Hillary.
Let's go back to scenario A. Because basically, we've run our course on scenario B. It would take literally a week for and not even the aliens, for us to destroy ourselves, like in Walking Dead. Now, let's say that Donald Trump does go up, and the alien goes, and Donald Trump goes, oh, I don't know what the hell you're saying, but you're my buddy. We're pals. You know, we're going to get that spaceship up. And the alien's like all wide-eyed, like, you know, he doesn't know what the hell is going on, right? And they don't have a translator box. They don't know what English is. They've never come across it. And he shakes his hand. He's like, we're best pals ever.
So you're saying the aliens, it was an accident that they landed here?
It was an accident. Things are smoking. It was an accident.
They were
did not purposely.
They were going somewhere else.
They were going, and all of a sudden, boom, they made a mistake. But it's not an alien. It's not one alien. It's like an alien ship. And I use the analogy of an airplane, right? Now, if they are peaceful aliens, they got their eyes wide open. They're like, oh, this guy means us no harm, right? He's our buddy. He's not going to do anything. And then, you know, the aliens, like, draw a line in the sand, like, where they're doing hieroglyphics, you know, and they do something like water or food. And they, oh, you want something to eat? Hey, Burger King and Diet Cokes for everybody. You know, we're going to bring it in, and we're going to feed the world. Everybody loves a Whopper, right?
I heard that Trump likes Doritos.
Doritos and Diet Coke for everybody. Doritos and Pepsi for everybody. Now, instead of Walking Dead, we have the slow burn, okay? We're giving aliens the food, and the aliens are slowly, you know, making contact. What you are having is all across the world, people are like, do they mean us harm? What do we do? Do we kill the aliens? Are we their friends? Do we help them with their technology? Right? Now, again, we're all in hypotheticals. But say they are our friends and they don't zap anybody. And within a couple of days, they let the Americans on the spaceship. How long before countries like China are like, listen, this is not fair that the aliens are in America. They are keeping us from the aliens. What if they have technologies that we want and the Americans are hoarding it? Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So now you are ratcheting out. And, you know, Trump's on by Thursday, he's doing a press conference. Hey, I talked to the aliens and they understood that I'm their friend. We're buddies. We ate some Doritos. We drank some Diet Coke. And they're good. They just want to see what's going on. You know, and he has no teleprompter, so he's exactly like me. Just, aliens are good guys. They didn't zap us. They let us on their ship, and there's some crazy doodads and thingamajigs, and there's lots of flashing flashy flashers, right? People are feeling better, but then other countries aren't feeling better. You see what I'm saying?
Or are they, like, jealous?
Yeah. Well, like I said, we'll use the Chinese. Do you think the Chinese are happy that Trump is talking to the aliens and not letting the Chinese talk to the aliens? Now, all of a sudden, a week in, you have a new problem. Again, the Walking Dead scenario. It's not the aliens that kill you. China says if you don't give us access to the aliens and let our troops on there and examine their technologies, we're going to cash in your debt. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And Trump's like, what the hell are you talking about? They're aliens. They landed in America for a reason. They're the land of the free, home of the brave. They didn't land over in commie land. Right? And then next thing you know, then we're having a war because the aliens came. How long does that take? 2 or 3 weeks. You got people in Russia. You got people in England. You got people. And what I'm trying to say is...
Yeah, the aliens didn't do anything, but it made us turn... the whole world turn against each other.
The only scenario where say the aliens, they're like, you know what, we need some food. We're going to eat some humans, we're going to eat some cows, and we're just going to kill a bunch of them. Come in, crash your plane, and just come out guns a-blazing, like the Old West, right? But in theory, why would you do that cross the whole galaxy just to eat a human? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's like saying instead of going to the Wendy's at the corner, you want to go to Wendy's in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Mm-hmm. But the point of the story is that no matter what scenario we throw out, and I could throw out 2 or 3 more, right? Is there a scenario where the aliens come and the humans don't automatically start killing each other? Where humans aren't automatically panicking? The only thing I can think of is if the aliens come down and they don't communicate like me and you. We're using English. It doesn't matter whether we're talking Russian or Chinese or whatever. Somehow the aliens can be like, we are your friend, using their thoughts, and you're like, oh, they're our friend. They sent their telepathy, right? I can't imagine that there's another species out there that could use telepathy that could communicate with us, logistically. So every other scenario is humans freak out and attack each other, whether it's within a day, within a week, within 2 weeks. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Just like 9/11, when 9/11 happened, they were like, we're all Americans. And then 2 years later, they're like, screw that, screw the Americans. Okay? And I'm not saying aliens are terrorists, but what I'm saying is you have the same feel of fear and anxiety and what's going to happen next. What do we do? The breakdown of human systems. And we're going to break this down even more. Let's say it's Monday, right? And the aliens have been here for 12 hours, right? You have to go to work. Do you know people at your work who said, oh, screw you, I'm not coming to work. I ain't coming. Yes, you do. Yeah. My dogs are the top priority. Well, the aliens came for my dogs. Okay? So you already, within 12 hours, you are having people are not going to work. And it's not just your business. I'm not going to pick on your business. Every business. Say the schools stay open. Well, half the people aren't showing up. Half the kids don't show up. Policemen. Okay, all policemen have to work. Well, screw that. I quit. I'm not a policeman anymore. And they don't come to work. You see what I'm saying? Breakdowns of systems start like I said, as soon as that Walmart opens and they got a line around the door getting all the water and stuff. Breakdown of systems within 12 hours. Now, you don't disagree. You don't think this is too pessimistic of a timeline. And again, you don't... Now, I use the Chinese. Maybe the Chinese would be cool, and they're like, hey, at least they land here. We don't need that kind of... But in theory, it could be Putin and the Russians. You see what I'm saying? Oh, now the Americans have the new titanium drive, and we ain't got crap. And this, we need... So what I'm saying is that all the humans' problems would be caused by humans just by the existence of aliens. Mm-hmm. And the Carl Sagans of the world, who are the voices of reason, I don't think there's enough Carl Sagans to counteract the Billy Bob and Joe Bobs in West Virginia and Alabama who are like, we're going to the State House, we're going to burn it down. Just because it's there. Okay? The reason I wanted to bounce this scenario off of you is, I keep watching Orville. And they keep talking about, oh, we crash landed on this thing, and this is what happened when we crash landed there, and this is what happened when we visited this planet, this is what happened. It is an indictment on humans, and you like The Walking Dead. We talk about it all the time, right? Mm-hmm. Me and Ted are convinced that part of the reason The Walking Dead is so scary is because it does not take that many dominoes to go from where me and you are living right now to what's going on in The Walking Dead. Mm-hmm. Right? You remember when they went in Atlanta in this first season? And all they're seeing is burned out vehicles and people laying dead in the streets. Yeah. And, people just willy-nilly, a few people running around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, by Wednesday, you know, once Trump talks to those aliens, and unless, you know, things work out perfectly, where the aliens are like, right? We're Walking Dead, right from within a week, and possibly within 12 hours. So when people are like, I want to know what's out there, this is the way you want first contact to be, okay? This is exactly how it needs to be. Some guy at the University of California picks up a radio signal from outside of Alpha Centauri, and they said, there's human life. Or, I'm sorry, not human life. There's alien life on Planet 3 around Alpha Centauri. And then they verify it, and then humankind literally has 50 to 100 years to digest it. You see what I'm saying? I don't think humans, at least in 2017, can handle the sudden appearance of aliens. And the reason I brought it up is, do you agree, or do you think I'm citing worst case scenarios?
No, I agree. I agree.
So there's no, when I'm going through step by step within the